Good evening, good morning, good night, where you may be watching this transmission. It is I, Mike Martins. Happy New Year to everybody. And it is already January 2nd in Australia. It's still January 1st where I am here in Merritt, British Columbia. And I've been following this Opal Tower situation very closely. Spoke to a lot of people on the ground there in Sydney. And spoke to a couple of engineers and people. And I've had some pretty good people on the show discussing the Opal Towers. So what is going on and why am I covering this? I'm covering this because this is coming to a city near you. Rapidly built infrastructure and cutbacks on material. It could be shoddy design. It could be a lot of things. So I got a few articles that were thrown up today by different news media sources. Remember, guys, we just gotta kind of take this as a just kind of I guess a slight insight on what's happening. We're never gonna know what really is happening. We never know what's happening anymore nowadays with all the technology we have. If anybody comes up with an answer and puts it on YouTube, they get taken down. If anybody comes up with a solution to something, they get disappeared. So, anyways, Sydney Opal Tower builders hits back after developer revealed parts of confidential contract. A fiery war of words brewing over who will cop the blame for Sydney's crumbling tower as hundreds of residents are still in limbo. So there's new cracks appear on Opal Tower. So I'm not sure if there's music on this, but I could show you guys here. Yeah, there's music. New cracks have appeared on another floor on Sydney's Opal Tower. The find comes after 51 units were declared unsafe at the complex. Residents reported hearing cracking noises and raised the alarm to authorities. Very loud bang. It sounds like someone had actually hit the walls. And there was like a screeching sound as well. Oof. A larger crack was found on the 10th floor. Smaller cracks are not located on the 4th floor. Residents affected by the apartments may not return. Engineers are working to install support to prevent the cracks from widening. Okay, so that's from news.au. So, the war of words has been broken out of who will be accountable for the crumbling Sydney Opal Tower debacle, as more than 300 of its residents are still in limbo. So it goes back to what I was saying, guys, the great Canadian, the great Australian, the great UK, New Zealand blame game. We were playing the blame game for a good while now. Like, who are we going to blame now for the rapidly accelerated home prices and people being bought out of the markets, and the smart people not buying into this fiasco? Now property prices are going down. Join me on trends in the housing market tomorrow for that, guys, and we'll be going over property declines all over the English speaking world. So let's go here. In a bid of Homebush high-rise towers builder Icon was responsible. Its construction and detailed design developer Ecove took a bold step by revealing aspects of the confidential contract yesterday. However, Icon spokeswoman has now lit back at an extraordinary step by telling the Australian, "Our priorities remain the safety and the welfare of the residents and rectifying the issue, not attempting to cover our backsides." Eco founder Basman Affleck has given his first interview since the concrete panel cracks on Christmas Eve triggered the evacuation of residents from 392 apartments in the tower, and now it's said the buck stops with Icon. Okay. "It's come to a shock for all of us," Mr. Affleck told the Australian Financial Review. "It's a very unusual situation, and as you can appreciate, there's no way Icon would ever want to be in this position just given their brand and reputation." Okay. It comes as more bad news broke the site of crumbling tower yesterday as investigators found two new fissures, and they were racing to install structural support on level 4 of the Olympic Park building. Until then, it had been believed that the damage was restricted to level 10, where engineers have been forced to install giant metal supports to prevent cracks widening in areas where prefab concrete panels made concrete poured on site. Design firm WSP, one of the investigators being employed by the building company Icon, denied reports the cracks on the fourth floor and widened from 3mm to 20mm over the past week. The chief executive, Guy Templeton, declaring them completely not true. So, guys, we're in the information age. I mean, everyone's got a cell phone in their pocket, so if people are allowed on that floor or people are roaming around, take a picture. Let's get this over with. Let's find out what is really happening. Okay, 20mm gap, it's over. The building's condemned, shut it down, give everyone back their money, right? So, things need to be fixed. I mean, people did not buy. A lot of people, nobody bought into this. So, and now trying to resell this building is going to be an absolute nightmare. So let's continue here. We've gone through the rest of the building. The cracking has been there for an intermediate amount of time. Not necessarily the same, he told the Australian. It's been monitored and it hasn't moved at all. Just back a bit, cracked concrete, not very exciting. On Monday, WSP and investigators have accessed all key locations in the Sydney Olympic Park apartment tower and found the building is structurally sound overall. Loud cracking noises heard by residents on Christmas Eve triggered evacuation of the building surrounding area. Imagine you're in there, you're opening presents, or it's Christmas Eve, so you're there, you're like, yeah, Santa's coming tonight, and all of a sudden you start hearing these crackling noises, and it's like, whoa, it's like when the Titanic hit the iceberg, you hear, it's like, wow. Most residents were allowed back in within 24 hours. The cracking was heard, but on December 27th, they were told the developers the entire tower will need to be emptied again, so engineers' investigations could continue for at least 10 days. Holy smokes. On Monday, engineers said they supported a progressive recuperation of the majority of towers units but residents living in part of the building which requires repairs will not be able to return until they are completed. We have found no other areas of damage to the extent of that in one of the part of the level 10, WSP Chief Executive Guy Templeton said in a statement on Monday. Further investigation to discover the cause of the building's problems are ongoing. The New South Wales Planning Minister Anthony Roberts says he's told the developer and the builder to spare no expense in looking after the welfare of the Opal Tower residents who have been living in temporary accommodation while investigations are underway. 3 residents have refused to leave their houses, with Mr. Roberts insisting they are impacted by the building's problems. So a little bit more cracking there. That's probably on the 4th. Yeah, it doesn't look too high. If you look at the window here, and those cars, you're not in the sky, so you could pretty much jump on the roof of that car if you had to. So that's pretty much the 4th floor. So this was snapped. That's the other door we have pictures of already on our channel. Some residents were told by the developer they needed to be moved from their temporary hotel accommodation on New Year's Eve as their rooms have been previously booked for celebrations. What a nightmare. Holy smokes. Guys, if there's anybody on the ground with this that wants to add me on Skype, add me MikeMartins1980@gmail.com. It's MikeMartins1980@gmail.com. Yeah, it's MikeMartins1980 on Skype. Sorry, that's my email. MikeMartins1980 on Skype. Skype is free. I got a lot of people on Skype here. If you want to be on the show, please let me know. I want to have you on the show. You don't have to show yourself if you don't want to on the camera. You could just talk, and we could keep you anonymous. If you're scared of getting fired from your job or something for talking about the destruction of your property. Under a new strategy, 30% of the industry will be audited every year. Oh wow, stuff that should have been put in since the time of Moses, like the Royal Commission in Australia. Yeah, we're gonna put in the Royal Commission to make sure nothing's going on with these banks. Why are you doing this now? The entire mass exodus of people leaving the major cities in Australia and Canada and the UK and all these big cities and the whole west coast of the United States, and now they're putting in restrictions to protect the Australian proper, the Canadian proper, the UK proper. Like, buildings will not be kicked out of the industry. Okay. Sorry, guys. Any certifiers who have been breached the code of conduct in the previous 12 months will also be unable to work and use Strata developments. Opal Tower Ecove developer Bassam Affleck says builder Icon bears liability. Again, same article. Yep. Really feel for a lot of these people, man. And this one here is kind of important. Sydney Opal Towers, more cracks found in troubled towers. Investigators have found 2 more sets of cracks in Sydney's Opal Tower, which engineers say will force some residents to spend months elsewhere while they're fixed. Months. So now a lot of, a gentleman I had on the show about a week ago was saying that it was built on a former garbage dump or a former, it used to be a dump or a dumping ground, or I don't know what it was. But the ground wasn't properly settled from rumors that are coming through. Lots of rumors coming through from different angles and different people talking about what's going on from their perspectives. I'd like to know. I'd like to get more people on the show that are there. Some of the people I spoke to are about 10, 20 kilometers from the site. I'd like to have somebody there, that's in that area to tell us what is going on. Now, people getting moved around from hotel rooms because other people pre-booked rooms for New Year's. Oh my God. 1 week after those living in the Olympic Park Tower heard loud bangs and saw cracks appear on Christmas Eve, structural engineers from all groups investigating the tower today held a crisis meeting to discuss finding new cracks and were widening in areas where pre-made concrete panels met concrete poured on site. Oof. Enormous metal supports have been installed to prevent further cracks, which were initially found on level 10, but also have been found in 2 places on level 4. The design engineers behind the tower confirmed the cracks on level 4 had reportedly widened 3 to 20 millimeters over the past week. However, the president of chief executive engineering firm, Guy Templeton, said that was completely not true. Well, a lot of people are going to have to cover their butts on this one. This is a huge deal, guys. So I need you guys to add me on Skype. Message me. Okay, Mike Martins 1980. Just message me. Hey, Mike, I saw your Australian thing on Opal Towers. I live on the 9th, whatever. I live across the street, and let me tell you what I could tell you. Or I live on the 4th floor or 10th floor. Or I was one of the people that was moved to a hotel. I'd like to have you on the show so we could actually find out what is going on from someone on the ground that's not an engineer, that's not a construction company, and that's not being paid, that's not paying off the media, right? So I'd like to know what you guys think. This is a huge deal. And a lot of people are saying, Mike, why keep covering this for? I mean, cover the housing crash in Sydney. I am covering it. Trends in the housing market tomorrow. Cover the housing crash in Vancouver. I am covering it. Every single day, I got my eye on the pulse. And when I see an article that's worth bringing out there and opening it up for discussion, I do that. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, guys, I'd like to know, everyone would like to know in the English-speaking world, too many projects thrown up way too quick, and it's nothing's built to last. We know that, right? So what do we do? Like, what's going to happen? Do people get? I think people should just, if they have to condemn the building, fine, learn from the mistake, condemn the building, but give everyone their money and the appreciation they lost while the building was being built. Now, if they get back their refund, they probably couldn't afford to get back into anything anymore, because everything got so high. Even though it's dropping, I think it's dropped since I think it's dropped 4% in last year in Sydney. So it's still not enough of a drop for people to reach affordability levels, right? So let me know what you guys think. I would like to know. I really would like to know. I'd like to have someone on the show that's going to give us a little bit of an insight, because I kind of want to Find out what's going on. Yeah, I want to see if I get pictures of those metal things. Because I heard it's pretty... let me go to images and see if we can find those metal... metal support. Is it these sheets of metal? There's like these huge sheets of metal along the side of the... No, I don't... I think that's part of the design. Opal Tower is left high and dry. No one's taking responsibility. Okay, here, let's see here. No one's taking responsibility. Daily Telegraph. Oh, they want me to pay $100 for this. Anyways, okay, guys, let me know what you guys think. If you're on the ground, let me know. I would like to know. We would like to know what is really going on. And now with cracks appearing in the basement or in the bottom basement, and is the main question they need to ask, is the building structurally sound? Is it habitable? If it's not, they're going to have to start taking care of... They're going to have to start taking care of the investors that pretty much laid everything... a lot of people put their entire life savings into a down payment in some of these things, right? So we got to look out for those people. There's no way they're going to let this... I mean, it's going to be always a one-sided war. The average person is going to have to fight, whether it's they buy a used car, whether they buy a new car, whether they buy a house, whether they buy clothing, whenever they buy. So it's going to be a one-sided war where it's the consumer that's going to have to pay for everything. Anyways, let me know. Comment below. Thanks for watching.